Alright guys, in this video I want to talk to you a little bit more about that top navigation menu, and I'm going to be showing you guys how to add a bunch of different components to it. For example, not only the title and the buttons, but also how you can have a drop down menu, and however let's say you want to collapse the screen, or you're looking at it on a smaller screen device and you don't have room for all the buttons, then you could replace it with a hamburger menu and a bunch of cool stuff. So let's go ahead and get started. So I ripped out everything from the last tutorial, so we have a blank slate right here, and the first thing I'm going to do is, before I even add any row, I'm going to add nav, and it takes a couple components. The class is top bar, and it also needs another keyword so it can work with JavaScript. Data top bar, I guess it's not going to pop up for me, and the role of this is going to be navigation. Alright, so that's our starting point. Now, this entire navigation menu is kind of be broken up into two parts. The first one is just your website logo, and the second part are the buttons. Now, there's actually a lot involved in the buttons, and it includes, the drop down menu and all that, but we'll just group it into one main section called the buttons. So for the logo, I'm going to make an unordered list, and I'm going to give this the class of title area. Now inside here, I'm just going to have an item that says the New Boston, and I'm also going to show you guys how to do something really cool with the hamburger icon. So first, before we get to that, I'm going to add an li, and the class is just going to be name, and I'm just going to stick my logo in here. So my logo is just going to be basic text, but if you want to include, your little image of your company's logo, whatever you want to do, that's fine. So href, A in there, and also let's just type the New Boston. Won't get too creative. Alright, so there's my logo. All it is the word the New Boston. Pretty boring, but hey, don't judge me. Alright, so the next thing I want to do is this. Right underneath this list item right here, I'm going to add another list item, and I'm going to say toggle top bar and menu icon. So these are two separate classes, and what this is going to do is it's going to say for smaller screen devices, whenever we don't have enough space to show all the buttons on our menu, then just create a hamburger icon, in other words a drop down menu, and we'll stick them all in there instead. And we don't have to write this functionality ourselves, it's already built into Foundation, which is pretty awesome. Now, one other weird little tricky thing is that inside here we need to add a dead link, and we just need to add our spans like before. So now it says, okay, when I don't have enough room, this is where I'm going to put that hamburger icon, so the user knows that it's a button and they can click it. Again, kind of weird, but yell at Foundation, their creators, not me. So now that we got all our basic functionality taken care of, let's go ahead and add the menu buttons. So not the hamburger icon, the actual buttons, such as like file, edit, view, whatever you want on top of your menu. So section, and the class is top bar section, and let me break it up like this. Alright, so first I'm going to make my right buttons, and then I'm going to make my left buttons. So on my menu, I'm going to have some buttons on the left, and I'm also going to have some buttons on the right, and let me show you guys what I'm talking about. So the menu bar right here, here's your entire menu, and you see how you have these buttons on the left, and it's actually probably going to look a little bit closer to that, and you also have your buttons on the right. Well, you can actually break these up in two different sections, or if you only want to have buttons on the left, you can do that as well, but this is how you do it this way. So for the unordered list, the ones on the right, you give it a class of right. Beautiful. Now I'm actually going to copy this. Actually, you know what? It's going to be a pain. Alright, so now let me just make some stupid sample buttons. like profile, and for this list item and the link itself, you have no styling just by default. The only time you want to have styling is if instead of a regular button, then you want to make it a drop down. So we'll say that we're gonna have we'll make this right here that says Bucky, and then it says my profile and log out on the right hand side. So it'll say Bucky. Of course, we would have to change that for the user's name. And for the list item itself, we need to add a class, and we need to say has dropdown. That's just our way of telling Foundation, hey, this isn't just a normal list item button. It actually has a drop-down menu inside it. So of course we need to actually add that functionality, and in order to do that, inside your list item, where you would typically just stick a single link, instead you're going to make that link, and that's the default text that's going to appear on it, and inside you make another unordered list. So it's like a menu within a menu. So this is going to be the drop-down menu inside your button. Now for the class, this is just drop-down that says this is the area that pops up whenever the user clicks this button, and then you can just add some items just like before. So what was it, like I don't know, we'll just say log out. We'll just keep one, make things really simple. So now let's check this out. So this is our regular button, our regular list item, and then we have a special list item that's a drop down. And of course we only have one item in the drop down, which is log out, but if we wanted to add more, then we could do that as well. Now also take note that it makes a little triangle on the right hand side, and that's how whenever the user is looking at your webpage, they know that this is a regular button, and whenever I hover over this, that there's going to be more. So I don't know, I think it's a pretty cool little indicator. But anyways, now let's just go ahead and make our left buttons, and this is going to be really boring because we're just going to make class of left, and we'll just stick some normal buttons in here. Actually, let me say this. Button 1 and button 2. Beautiful. So actually, let me change this to something that would be a little bit more useful. I really don't like just calling things like placeholders. I hate the names foo and bar. You know how like all the examples use foo bar? I'm like, what is this? This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. So that's why I never use those. Alright, so we got our navigation menu broken up into two sections, the logo and the buttons. And we also took the button section and broke this up further, so we have left buttons and right buttons. And check this out. Whenever we start shrinking this, and Foundation is like, hey, you don't have room for all these buttons, what it does is it creates a hamburger icon right here, and whenever we click it, all of our buttons are right inside here. Now if we ever have a drop down like this, whenever we click it, it brings you in to that drop down, and then you can go back and forth, toggle, untoggle, boom. So a lot of different pieces, and there you go. That's the basic structure of how to make them all. And also, I probably should have mentioned this in like the first video. Any source code, not only for this tutorial, but for all my other tutorials, I'm going to be putting it on my GitHub. So if you guys are like, alright, I want to add like a drop down menu, but I'm too lazy to type all this, just head over to my GitHub, and you know wherever you saw that template from the first video, they're all going to be in that same directory. So just copy the pieces that you need, paste in, and like change the buttons to say whatever you want. But there you go, and that way you don't have to type everything again, and it's all there if you ever want to come back and grab it. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. See you guys in the next video.